Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled. You're the exile. Aye. Despite your brother Bhelen's best efforts, sorrow finished what your kinslaying started. Your father is dead.
Kinslayer? Oh, you're not getting in. Losing two sons, one to murder and one to exile, who can blame him for seeking peace among the ancestors?
The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
What? He's a traitor! And a kinslayer! You said it yourself. In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden! What? Lies and slander! King Loghain will not suffer this. I will not suffer it. I'm his messenger.
Kill each other as you will, but take your sodding fight off my doorstep. You've done me a service. That fool Imrek was barking for a week. Are all humans so touched? You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden, though I don't know what help you will find.
Trost follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. You left chaos to fester in your house, but we must respect your new role. Fair journeys, Warden.
Your Highness, you live. We heard what happened. It was an injustice. My master is writing another book about the Idukans. He believes that Prince Bhelen set you up. My master has not forgotten how you defended him from Brunton Volney. May Orzammar be kinder to you than the last time you walked the roads.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these Deshers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Bhelen incite a riot.
Do not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Exile, you are not to show your face here again. I have enough crime to deal with. I shouldn't have to dump you back in the deep roads. That's right. You found pity topside. The Warden should have better sense when choosing allies. Surfacers and their cloud-addled heads. Fine, oh illustrious Grey Warden. What do you want? Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Bhelen, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. Yes, you should.
Dwarf, by the ancestors! You were exiled into the deep roads. How can you be standing here? I should hope so. I'd be quite hurt if you didn't recognize me. After all, all, under different circumstances, we might have been married. But you are supposed to be dead. How is it you live? Then I hope your return is a good omen. Since your father died, many have begun to wonder if it was Bhelen's hand behind Trian's death, not yours. Even your father believed that. It's why he appointed Lord Harrowmont as his heir. But enough Deshers support Bhelen to keep the Assembly in a deadlock. You can see how bad things have gotten. In his sleep, though many whisper those are only sweet words to hide the smell of poison, may the ancestors accept the king among their blessed number. Exactly half the Assembly, but as you know, that means his numbers are dropping. And I'm sure some curse their decision to exile you. But House Iduken stands behind Bhelen still, and they have stricken your name. He still lives in the king's quarters, pretending your father never repudiated him. He seems to think if he's close to the throne long enough, we'll forget he has no right to claim it. You wouldn't dare say so, but the common folk do. Not enough of them, I say. Exactly half the Assembly still supports Bhelen, and their loyalty runs deep. He dares not leave his estate often. You've seen what sort of thugs support your brother. A blight? Now? But our warriors are killing each other in the streets. Who will lead the battle? How will we survive? Then may the ancestors guide your efforts. If you seek Lord Harrowmont's support, talk to Dulin Ferender. You'll find him in Harrowmont's estate. Tell him who you are, and I'm sure he can get you an audience. I should return home until the streets become safe again.
Lord, you're back! They told me you were dead! Prince, you say? Then why were you exiled and stripped of caste not 2 days after you planted your son in me? With you as his father, he's casteless now. His birth wasn't even recorded by the Shapers. You've destroyed us! I've had to care for him myself, nurse him, clothe him. I can't work. No one wants to lie with a woman who's used up her fertility on some casteless brat. How could you do this to us? Then help us. Convince your family to take you back, or at least declare you honorably dead and acknowledge your son. Please, think about what his life will be otherwise. Thank you. I guess you do care after all. I take back all the times I cursed your name. I have heard nothing from House Iduken. Please don't forget us, my lord. What could be more important than your son?
I heard you had returned to his exile. What insult do you mean by coming here? House Iduken struck your name from its records the day you killed Trian. With Endron gone, Bhelen must take his throne. I have seen this treaty in the Shaper's libraries, but it is only the king it compels, and your father has unfortunately passed on. If you seek Bhelen's help, he can only give it from the throne, and only if no one stands in the way of his getting there. If you wish to convince me of your goodwill, you'll have to show you've put the past behind you. As if you would give up the throne of Orzammar to throw your lot in with these surfacers. The prince has no reason to aid you, and I suggest you not seek his attention. You might not like what happens. Last time we met, you were hardly civil. Is there more you would say now? Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. No one wishes this fight over more than Bhelen. But while it rages, Orzammar can spare no one to combat what may or may not be the new blight. There might be a way. If you demonstrate to Bhelen that you owe Harrowmont no fealty. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much, but Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at Tapster's in the Commons. Remember, don't tell them you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
Lord Harrowmont sends his greetings, Exile. He was surprised to see you back here. That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Bhelen today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. Lord Harrowmont always had too much affection for you. But I know you Idukans and your thirst for glory. If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Bhelen, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Bhelen is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Bhelen found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. That would be enlightening, though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm. Bhelen would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Then I'm afraid your only choice is to wait until there's a winner. Lord Harrowmont cannot risk his life working with someone of unproven loyalties. If you change your mind, let me know. The proving is this afternoon, and Lord Harrowmont could certainly use you on his side.
What do you want? Are you a messenger from some other Desher? I am. And what business would you have with me? Well, this isn't exactly a surface broadsheet. Where did you get these? Never mind. It is true enough, but there's nothing I can do about it. This deal was made on behalf of our entire house. Only my father can revoke it. I cannot. Not for weeks. He is leading a Deep Roads expedition, trying to secure an ancient Tig. It's unlikely he'll be back before the election, but perhaps this vote is important enough for you to brave the tunnels to tell him? The Dace family would be in your debt. Thank you. He was searching an old Idukan site. He left me with this map, in case his expedition never returned. I'll give you a pass as well. Usually, no one is allowed past the front lines. Good luck.
I wasn't expecting you back. I guess you realize this is about the only fun in Orzammar? Oh, well, I'd ask for proof, or why you care, but frankly, I'm so tired of it I'm not even surprised anymore. I don't even want the land, but my house would kill me if I turned it down. Responsibilities, you know? Now I'll have to go through the whole process of rejecting the deal. And we'll both have to try something else. And I thought it was going to be a nice day. I actually thought he was the better candidate. You must think I'm pretty sorry naive, huh? They're all the same, well-dressed, blood-sucking cave ticks. I'll have to inform Mother that Lord Harrowmont hasn't bought our vote after all.
I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you past the front lines without Adesh's permission. And I've heard nothing of any new patrols scheduled to leave today. I see you have his daughter's seal, so I will not stop you. But be careful. Just because the beasts are pulled back from Orzammar doesn't mean there are any fewer in the deep roads. Either we finally have the edge, which I doubt, or the beasts are building up numbers for the next attack. Of course not. Down here, you're bound to run into giant spiders, deep stalkers, and other vermin. Ugly beasts they are. Walk on two legs, but they have the head of a worm and hunt in packs. Watch out. They're not afraid to take on a group their own size. A few outposts. Legion of the Dead, mostly. Fools that they are. Some scavenger types, too. You know the Legion, don't you? Anyone who can bear arms can join, no matter his crimes. Or sanity. They hold a funeral when they join, and swear their only goal is a glorious death. Best of luck.
You pulled us from a tight spot, friend. You have my gratitude. I am Lord Anwar Dace. I heard nothing of another expedition. What brings you here so fortuitously? I don't understand. What could... These are the terms of a deal we made with Lord Harrowmont, but... the charlatan. He's promised the exact same land to Helmy. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I owe you twice now. My life and my house's fortune. I should not discuss such things, but it is definitely troubling. I don't think I could in good... I must return now. My men need healing and I want to look into this. You wish to travel with us? And let us reach Orzammar before more beasts find our scent.
Well, I hear there were a few angry messengers sent to the Harrowmont estate a moment ago. It's touching to see how strong your love is for your brother. He's ready to see you now if you wish. I'm going to assume that wasn't sarcasm. I warn you, be on your best behavior, and keep your weapons sheathed.
Well, who would have imagined? My big brother returned from the grave, and with the might of the Grey Wardens behind him. I could hardly believe it when Vartag said you wished to help me regain the throne. You'd have acted against me in a heartbeat if I hadn't done it first. The same way you turned everyone in the Assembly against Trian. The same way our father, may the ancestors bless him, convinced his elder brother to enter a proving against a convicted murderer. Who do you think gave the murderer the poison to put on his blade? You should thank me then. You could never handle the throne. A King of Orzammar has to be ruthless. He has to tell the Assembly to snap to or shut down. He has to accept that in any battle against Darkspawn or politicians, there are casualties. Neither you nor Harrowmont is that king. Father died of grief. He couldn't bear to live when you were gone. You're right. Harrowmont would bow and dandle you on his knee like a child. But he could never overcome the Assembly's resistance to your treaty. This is a time for action, not cultured debate. We need absolute unity to fight against the fulcrum of true evil. Absolutely. And on the souls of our shared ancestors, as soon as Orzammar is united under Idukan rule. Unfortunately, while this debate rages, I have no power to send the troops you need. You've seen for yourself, the city is a slaughterhouse. Criminals run lawless. I could never hold the throne if I allowed such chaos. I can hold my throne, thank you. But I cannot hold it and send the troops you need. Or do you take back that request? I didn't think so. Now I will help when I can, but I must send what troops I have now to combat Jarvia and her so-called Carta. They know Orzammar is divided now and has no time for them. It's made them bold. If I show the city I can eliminate such a threat, well, let's just say my position would be stronger. Her roots are deep in Dusttown, and there are too many guardsmen in her pocket for me to dig her out right now. And frankly, until Father's death, she kept her depravity focused on other brands, so no one cared. Now they're attacking honest men. If you can eliminate them, I promise as king, I will send as many troops as you need to fight the Darkspawn. Unfortunately, Jarvia's base of operations is in Dusttown, and you know how little leverage we have there. The casteless refuse to cooperate with my men. But now that you've spent so much time on the surface, you're practically one of them. Perhaps you'll have better luck. And I will wait eagerly for your return.
So Bhelen finally realized his throne means nothing if he can't hold it, yet he still doesn't bother to send his own men. Well, you picked the wrong side, stranger. It doesn't matter who's king, as long as there's a queen. You'll pay for their deaths 100 times over. Kill them! But leave the mouthy one alive. I have plans for him.
God! By all the beards of my ancestors! How did you... Where did you come from? You made a hole in my wall! It does? Oh, sod it. If people find out about this, my business will be ruined. They'll think I have something to do with Jarvia. It's gonna cost me a fortune, isn't it? I can't believe this. There better not be more of your troublemaking kind crawling in after you. I swear, this city is going to the criminals and the nuts.
Well, you've simply outdone yourself. They're talking all over the city about how someone finally went through Dusttown and slaughtered the Carta like Genlocks. Not yet. Killing Jarvia brought me greater favor. But to truly displace Harrowmont, we'll need something dramatic enough to end the debate forever. What do you know of the Paragon Branka? She is the only Paragon in 4 generations, and she turned her back on her responsibilities. A Paragon is like an ancestor born in this time. If she returned, her vote would outweigh the entire assembly. Anyone with her support could take the throne unchallenged. She had an entire house with her, dedicated to her protection. With the number of ruins still intact, they could last for a long time. And Harrowmont is looking as well. It's too risky to assume she's dead, only to have him take credit for finding her. I was hoping you could use your legendary charm to persuade her that the rightful king should take the throne. However, if the deep roads have addled her wits, it might be best she not return before the kingship is decided. I would never say that. She is a Paragon. It is my duty to protect her. On the other hand, we must respect her decisions. Should she prefer to stay in the deep roads rather than help her rightful king take the throne, we must assist her by any means necessary. I did not know her personally. 2 years ago, I was still considered a child, not one to consort with Orzammar's finest. From what I hear, her intellect was unrivaled, but the social graces were beneath the notice of one so gifted. I was hoping you could use your legendary charm to persuade her that the rightful king should take the throne. However, if the deep roads have addled her wits, it might be best she not return before the kingship is decided. Then we will both go down in history as a Paragon's saviors. So far, my men have traced Branka to Caridin's Cross, an ancient crossroad lost to the Darkspawn 4 centuries ago. Her trail ends there. Perhaps with your warden's expertise, you can find what my men could not. You must enter the deep roads through the mines. To protect the city, that's the only path we leave open. Caridin's Cross lies many miles deep into the tunnels. It was once a main thoroughfare, but before Branka, no one had stepped foot there in generations. You have my thanks. Seek her in Caridin's Cross. I will try to delay the vote until you return.
Let me be blunt with you. After all this time, my tolerance for social graces is fairly limited. That doesn't bother you, I hope.
Shave my back and call me an elf. Branka, by the stone! I barely recognized you.
Oghren. It figures you'd eventually find your way here. Hopefully you can find your way back more easily. And how shall I address you? Hired sword of the latest lordling to come looking for me? Or just the only one who didn't mind Oghren's ale breath?
Be respectful, woman. You're talking to a Grey Warden.
Ah, so an important errand boy, then. I suppose something serious has happened. Is Endrin dead? That seems most likely. He was on the old and wheezy side. You are seeking my support? You wish to succeed Endrin and become king yourself? I don't care if the Assembly puts a drunken monkey on the throne. Because our protector, our great invention, the thing that once made our armies the envy of the world, is lost to the very darkspawn it should be fighting. The Anvil of the Void. The means by which the ancients forged their army of golems and held off the first archdemon ever to rise. It's here, so close I can taste it. A 1,000 Bhelens could die and history wouldn't notice. I'm looking for the one thing that will return our days of glory. The Anvil lies on the other side of a gauntlet of traps designed by Caridin himself. My people and I have given body and soul to unlocking its secrets. This is what's important. This has lasting meaning. If I succeed, the Dwarven people benefit. Kings, politics, all that is transitory. I've given up everything and would sacrifice anything to get the Anvil of the Void. Enough questions. If you wish me to get involved with this imbecilic election, I must first have the Anvil. There's only one way out, Warden. Forward. Through Caridon's maze, and out to where the Anvil waits.
What has this place done to you? I remember marrying a girl you could talk to for 1 minute and see her brilliance.
I am your Paragon.
My name is Paragon. Once, longer ago than I care to think, I was a paragon to the dwarves of Orzammar.
Caridon, the Paragon Smith. Alive?
Ah, there is a voice I recognize. Shale of the House of Kadash. Step forward.
You know my name. Is it you that forged me then? Is it you that gave me my name?
Have you forgotten then? It has been so long. I made you into the golem you are now, Shale. But before that you were a dwarf, just as I was. The finest warrior to serve King Valtor, and the only woman to volunteer.
The only woman? A dwarf?
I laid you on the Anvil of the Void, here in this very room, and put you into the form you now possess.
The Anvil of the Void. That is what we seek.
If you seek the Anvil, then you must care about my story, or be doomed to relive it. Though I made many things in my time, I rose to fame and earned my status based on a single item, the Anvil of the Void. It allowed me to forge a man of steel or stone, as flexible and clever as any soldier. As an army, they were invincible, but I told no one the cost. No mere smith, however skilled, has the power to create life. To make my golems live, I had to take their lives from elsewhere. So said my king. I had only intended to use volunteers, but he was not satisfied, and soon a river of blood flowed out of this place. Finally, it was too much. I refused, and so Valtor had me put on the Anvil next. Not revenge. The blow of the hammer opened my eyes. My apprentices knew enough to make me as I am, but not enough to fashion a control rod. I retained my mind. You were amongst the most loyal, Shale. You remained at my side throughout, and at the end, I sent you away out of mercy.
I do not remember.
We have remained entombed here ever since, and I have sought a way to destroy the Anvil. Alas, I cannot do it myself. No golem can touch it.
No! The Anvil is mine! No one will take it from me!
Shale, you fought to destroy the Anvil once. Do not allow it to fall into unthinking hands again!
You speak of things I do not remember. You say we fought. Did you use our control rods to command us to do so?
I destroyed the rods. Perhaps my apprentices eventually learned to replace the rods. I do not But if so, then all they need is the Anvil to make all the slaves they need. You, please, help me destroy the Anvil. Do not let it enslave more souls than it already has.
Don't listen! He's been trapped here for 1,000 years, stewing in his own madness. Help me claim the Anvil, and you will have an army like you've never seen!
Branka, you mad, bleeding nugtail! Does this thing mean so much to you that you can't even see what you've lost to get it?
Look around. Is this what our empire should look like? A crumbling tunnel filled with dark spawn spume? The Anvil will let us take back our glory!
So it fights with Caradin? Good. That seems right.
Have you no desire to discover this anvil's potential? It is a marvel, a tool of creation. You could rival the Maker himself with this instrument. If you destroy the anvil, I swear you will regret it. You would not dare. I would rather not find out. Fine. Destroy it if it pleases you.
Thank you, stranger. Your compassion shames me.
Bah! You're not the only Master Smith here, Caradin. Golems, obey me! Attack!
A control rod! My friend! You must help me! I cannot stop her alone! Another life lost because of my invention. I wish no mention of it had made it into history.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Stupid woman. Always knew the Anvil would kill her.
How is it that the woman was not able to disable me as she did you, Caradin?
I do not know. Have you been altered?
I once had a pathetic little mage of a master. He did something to me, experimented on me, and then I killed him, and it rendered me paralyzed.
Perhaps he was bringing forth old memories, and caused you to remember the time when you fought at my side. The paralysis you speak of always resulted when the Master perished. As for your free will, you were always a strong woman, Cher. I am pleased to see you remain such.
I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Do not thank me. All of this is my doing, my legacy. But at least it ends here. I thank you for standing with me, stranger. The Anvil waits there for you to shatter it.
Yes, excellent idea. Just destroy it now, after all this.
Is there any boon I can grant you for your aid? A final favor before I am freed from my burden? For the aid you've given me, I shall put hammer to steel one last time, and give you a crown for the king of your choice. Give it to whom you will. I do not wish to hear their names, nor anything more of them. I have already lived far beyond my time. I have no place here. You have my eternal thanks, stranger. A trust in all Tumshire. May you always find your way in the dark.
Well, that pretty much beat the sod out of how I imagined it. You ready to head back yet and share the news? Yeah, those Deshers have been trying to destroy the city for years. Haven't managed yet.
Lords of the Assembly, I call for order. This argument gets us nowhere.
Then why these delaying tactics? I call for a vote right now. My father has one living child to assume the Idukan throne. Who would deny him that?
Your father made me swear on his deathbed you would not succeed him.
I apologize for the interruption, Lord Steward, but the Grey Warden has returned.
Well, Warden, what news do you bring?
Caridin was trapped in the body of a golem. This warden granted him the mercy he sought, releasing him and destroying the Anvil of the Void. Before he died, Caridin forged a crown for Orzammar's next king, chosen by the ancestors themselves.
I would like to believe Ogren's word, but it's well known the Grey Warden is Bhelen's hireling.
Silence! This crown is of Paragon make, and bears House Hortan's ancient seal. Tell us, Warden, whom did Caridin choose?
At last, this farce is ended, and I can take my rightful place on my father's throne.
Let the memories find you worthy. First amidst the lords of the houses, the King of Orzammar.
Do you acknowledge me as king?
I cannot defy a paragon. The throne is yours, King Bhelen.
Then as my first act as king, I call for this man's execution. Guards, seize him! You know better than anyone the war facing us, Warden. Orzammar cannot afford to be divided. Anyone undermining my reign is serving only the Darkspawn. I will return to my palace to gather my generals and prepare our forces for the surface. I will see you there, Warden. You have my gratitude for all you have done for me. You have truly surprised me, brother. You have earned the right to rejoin House Idukan. Without your aid, I would not have taken this throne so smoothly or so soon. As all in Orzammar now see, My generals are already preparing for a mission to the surface. When you have need of us, you shall have every able-bodied dwarf in Orzammar. Since you did more than I expected, I offer a personal reward as well. You may recognize this. Trian used it to crack skulls when he was showing off for father. I'm sure he'd want you to have it. Now, I have much to do. If there is nothing else... Your son? What do you... Oh, that is rich. You mean that casteless girl, don't you? The one claiming to have an Idukan son. I never thought you had it in you, brother. But after what you've done, I can afford to be magnanimous. Send the whore and her brat to me. I'll make sure they get the Idukan name and the nicest room in the smallest palace. Now, I must address my other petitioners. Come back and visit sometime.
I have heard nothing from House Idukan. Please don't forget us, my lord. Oh, my lord! Thank you! Your son will not be a pauper! I will take him to the palace. I can't wait for a proper bath and a nurse to watch him for me. My lord, perhaps you would like to give the boy a name? I wanted his father to have this honor. Trian. That has a nice sound to it.